Captain America might be the first movie that comes to mind when you think of Chris Evans, but did you know he almost passed on the role in favor of another massive franchise and stars in a variety of other projects like Rian Johnson's Knives Out and Apple TV Plus's Defending Jacob?
You know, there are other things I could be doing, surprising as it may seem.
The Boston-born actor graduated from local theater to national television at the turn of the century, starring in the short-lived Milo Ventimiglia-led sitcom Opposite Sex. Evans navigated to the big screen thanks to this audition for 2001's Not Another Teen Movie.
Prince Charming was standing right in front of you.
After the failed pilot Eastwick with Marcia Cross, Evans returned to theaters with The Perfect Score, during which he met Scarlett Johansson, future collaborator on The Nanny Diaries, and, those other movies. Evans broke into action flicks as the lead in the 2004 thriller Cellular, and then played Johnny Storm in 2 Fantastic Four movies, a role Paul Walker was also considered for.
I think we have a serious problem.
The following year, Evans lost out on Cameron Crowe's Elizabethtown, as did Sean William Scott, Colin Hanks, and James Franco, and the part went to Ashton Kutcher initially and then Orlando Bloom. And speaking of Franco, he beat Evans out for the role of Scott Smith in Gus Van Sant's Milk, and years later dropped out of the role Evans eventually played in The Iceman, but took a smaller role in the crime drama.
Listen, the way I see it, it's a lose-lose. Either we get pinched or Roy finds us. Either way, we go away and everybody suffers.
Evans also read for 2007's Gone Baby Gone, but calls his audition with director Ben Affleck the worst of his career and lost out on the role to Ben's brother, Casey Affleck. A few years later, Evans began the auditioning process for the highly coveted lead role in James Cameron's Avatar franchise. Evans, Channing Tatum, and Sam Worthington made the director's final 3, but Cameron ultimately felt Worthington's intensity was the best fit. Oddly enough, Worthington was one of the first actors rumored to play Captain America, thanks to wearing the character's shield on a t-shirt in public and subtly vying for the role in interviews.
Don't you realize you just lost yourself a customer?
Will Smith was also rumored to be in early talks for Steve Rogers until Marvel opened auditions to a bevy of big and small screen stars of the time, including Channing Tatum, Parks and Recreation's Chris Pratt, The Office's John Krasinski, True Blood's Alexander Skarsgård, Cruel Intentions' Ryan Phillippe, Friday Night Lights' Scott Porter, One Tree Hill's Chad Michael Murray, Gossip Girl's Chase Crawford, comedian Dane Cook, and even Kevin and Joe Jonas. Sebastian Stan was also considered for Captain America before being cast as Bucky Barnes, aka the Winter Soldier, instead.
Oh, God, I knew this would happen.
Evans was actually offered the Captain America role without auditioning, but turned it down, a few times in fact. Partly because the actor had already played a Marvel superhero, but also because he feared the effects of the fame.
Avengers!
It was Robert Downey Jr., coming off Iron Man, who actually convinced Evans to consider the role, and he signed on after meeting with director Joe Johnston and the producers. Evans then spent nearly a decade assembling Avengers and the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies, likely finishing his run with 2019's Avengers Endgame.
Come on, there are men laying down their lives. I got no right to do any less than them. That's what you don't understand.
Evans then played Ransom Drysdale in the critically acclaimed Knives Out. The talented actor also stars in a very different and dramatic role as Andy Barber in the Apple TV Plus limited series Defending Jacob, where he must protect his son, played by former co-star Jaden Martell, from murder charges. The series is based off of the hit novel by William Landay.
There's got to be an explanation.